Welcome to The Artist Matters. I'm Alex Rudy, and each week you will meet incredible artists from all walks of life. Filmmakers, writers, actors, painters, musicians, and so many more, sharing their stories to motivate and inspire the creative in you. Whether you're doing it for fun or looking to make a living, this show will help you on your journey to bring out the artist within and letting the world know that your art matters. Hi everybody, welcome to The Artist Matters. I'm Alex Rudy, and welcome to my month, July. Yes, I own the whole month of July, because my birthday's coming up. Yeah, I know. I do like July, though. Birthdays are fun. My sister's birthday is in July, too. And so is my stepdaughter's. So it is great. I can't believe we're at the 7th month of the year, but it's great to be here and bringing you all this content. And yes, the artistreallymatters.com launched. I now have the official site up, so you can check out all the episodes I've done thus far. Check out all the guests, learn more about them, connect with them, check out all their links to their sites. It's great stuff. It was a very, very time-consuming and huge learning process, but I managed. And there's still stuff to learn, but at least the page is up so people can see all the guests, because the artists do matter. They really matter. But anyway, I was grateful to get today's guest, but I was running low on others. And I was wondering, what could I possibly do to get more guests? I am part of a Facebook community for Don't Keep Your Day Job, which is a podcast by Kathy Heller. And I just put it out there, looking for artists, anyone interested in being a podcast, gave them my little pitch. And within the last few days, I got inundated by maybe at least 10 artists or more. So it's great. It's a little overwhelming, but it's great. And finding all artists of all kinds and just trying to figure out how I'm going to schedule all of these people. And I will, because I really want to hear their stories. And we've got comedians, we've got visual artists, woodworking artists, painters, and writers, and other podcasters too coming up. Can't wait. But let's dive into today's episode with a young woman I have known for 8 years. Her name is Ariel Hope Santerelli. Met her at church. We joined Hillside Community Baptist Church in 2011. And her father is the pastor of the church, Joe Santerelli. And along with her mom, Christy Santerelli, and her 5 brothers, they make up a big part of the church. And we just fell in love with the place and in love with them. They're such a great family. And this young girl, I knew she was a performer, actor from the beginning. She was on stage singing with the worship team. And she still does to this day with her brother, Caleb. He's also on piano and cajon. And my wife is part of the worship team, too, as we mentioned. And Ariel wanted to go to college for physical therapy and stuff like that. But I knew this young woman has to be a performer. It is her. She's just very vibrant, very energetic, and very personable and warm and friendly. And I just knew it, seeing her act in The Road to Bethlehem, as we'll mention. And I knew it. So after some soul searching, she realized that, yes, this is the path for her. And she's done a lot in the last few years, getting into a lot of stage productions in local theaters. She has been in some commercials, local, done some independent film work, and even modeling and crafting to throw on top of that. I'm sure there's much more that Ariel has yet to show the world. And this is something I've been wanting to do for a while with the show, getting someone at the start of their journey when they're very young, and it's still fresh, still something new. They haven't been through the trenches for many years, but she has experienced a lot in the last few years and grown a lot. And she offers some great words of wisdom at the end of this. I was so pleased to sit down and learn more about her. So without further ado, let's get into it. My chat with Ariel Hope Santerelli. All right, we're here with our third in-house guest, Ariel.
Hello.
It's Ariel. Welcome.
Hey.
You finally made it. Glad to have you here.
Finally, yeah.
All right, let's get into her story. Where did your story begin?
Well, I was born on January 2nd, 1995. Or did you mean my artistic story?
Well, that's a start. No, let's start there. You were born where? Here in Florida?
No, actually, Oskaloosa, Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
And I lived there for 6 months of my life. And then my parents moved down to Florida. And they've been moving around, ever since. But moved around more so when I was younger. And then we've been in Brooksville for the better part of 20 years. At least they have.
Yes, that's a long journey. And how many other siblings do you have?
I have 5, and they're all boys.
Ooh.
1 older brother and 4 younger.
So what's it like growing up in that house?
Very competitive. And, always just competing to win at whatever the game or sport was. Made me very tough and independent. I had to stand up for myself. So it shaped me in a lot of very unique ways, I think.
Now, to the creative side, was that always part of you?
I think it was. Just from a very young age, I had an urge or an inkling, a bug, I guess you could say, just to be the center of attention. I know that sounds vain and conceited, but when I think I was about 2 or 3, my grandparents got me this Barbie bicycle for Christmas, and I thought it was the best thing ever. And I loved it so much that I would put on Barbie bike shows for my parents and my grandparents, and I would force them to watch me do like what I thought were tricks or stunts on my Barbie bike, which was usually like standing on one pedal with one foot slightly in the air, and I thought I was really cool. And they would clap and be like, "Yay, oh, you're doing so good." So yeah, that was just kind of like when my parents told me that story, I was like, oh, okay, because I didn't remember it. But yeah, I think the flair and the spark has always been there from a very young age. And my mom, she told me, like from a musical standpoint, that she knew I had rhythm when I was in my high chair, because they would have like music playing in the house and I would just be like drumming to the beat, like on my high chair. So I'm not a drummer, but musical, yes.
Well, that gets me to the next question. You may not have been drumming, but your fingers were working in a way that plays an instrument that you play to this day, which is the piano.
I do. And
did that start at an early age, learning piano?
Yes. I started piano lessons when I was 6. And I stayed with that teacher for a few years until I decided to start taking voice lessons. And I didn't want to stop doing piano. I did for a short time to switch over to voice. But then I found a teacher who was able to do voice and piano combined. And she's the one who taught me to sing and play together. And that was very important and crucial, just for my career going forward.
What is it about the piano? Why was that the instrument for you?
I don't really know why. I think it might have been something that my mom just like wanted us to try and do. And we were thinking about other instruments, but I think she heard from someone that the piano is the best instrument to like start as a foundation, because you learn like all of the notes, they're all spread out there before you, and it's easy to learn chords, and just like it gives you a better foundation to start if you want to go on to learn other instruments. So that's why she chose that one for us, and I fell in love with it, liked it. And I've been playing for 17, 18 years.
That's a lot of piano.
Yeah.
All right, so piano, and you started to learn singing, you said, at an early age too.
Yes.
And what made you want to sing all of a sudden?
Well, another funny family story. When I was a baby, I had this thing where I would like grunt all the time. It was really, really weird. And my parents, like, they never imagined that I would, want to be a singer or sing at all, because like when I was a baby, I would just grunt, and it was this like guttural, like just grunting sound, and it was not something you would think would come from a musician. But yeah, I started grunting when I was a baby. And then the first time I remember singing in front of people was when my Sunday school teacher, when I was 5, she had all of the kids get up on stage and sing a song. And for some reason, she wanted me to do a solo. Maybe she just, I don't know, she wanted me to push me to do something on my own. And I sang Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star in front of the church. And there were people saying, like, that's not a Christian song. And she was like, it's about the stars. So yes, it is, because God made the stars. Let her sing it. So yeah, I was 5 when I had my first solo in front of a congregation.
And how did it feel afterwards?
I was terrified.
Oh, okay.
Afterwards, I think everyone like clapping and like applauding was exhilarating to me, even as a 5-year-old. And I was like, oh, I like this. Could get used to this.
And then you said as you got older, you learned how to play piano and sing at the same time.
Correct.
Now, how challenging is that, combining the two?
Very, I would say, especially just starting out, because when you're just playing, at first it's hard to get your right hand and your left hand to play. They first teach you the right hand, and then they teach you the left hand to just, work together. And sometimes, the chords and the melodies and like your hands are doing different things. So that's hard. But then adding your hands doing 2 different things and then your voice doing something else was just like a whole nother dimension. Then I was like, oh, this is like really difficult. But once you get into the flow of the music and just the movement of it all, it got easier and easier. Especially when you're playing music that you like, it helps a lot. So my teacher was really, really good about that, just allowing me to play pieces of music that I was passionate about and that I wanted to actually sing and perform in front of people. And she had recitals for us, of course, and so she let us pick our recital piece and like work towards making that the best that it could be.
Do you remember your first?
My first recital piece, singing and playing? The one that sticks out most in my mind was when I was probably either junior or senior in high school. I'm sure I did other recitals before that, and I probably sang and played for those too, but the one I remember most was my junior recital, where I sang a song called Hero. I forget who the band is that actually wrote and first did the rendition of that song, but I remember playing that one very vividly. And I wore my prom dress to my recital because I love dressing up and being all fancy, sometimes more than necessary.
It's part of the show, right?
Yeah.
Well, you're not just the only creative person in your family.
True.
It seems like parents are very encouraging of nurturing the talent in your family.
Yeah.
And what did your siblings and parents do creatively?